Welcome back everyone, it's Chala from Crafting Through the Chaos of Life. Thank you for tuning in for another video. Today we are going to be playing around with some dried flowers, some dried leaves. This is some paper that I got from Goodwill, which is kind of like a watercolor paper. It was just from a book I deconstructed, like a little kind of memory keepsake book. And then I also have some of this fabric. It's like muslin, I think. I got this as well from the Goodwill store. And let me just preface this by saying, with fabrics and stuff, I know people often show that they've purchased fabric maybe from a store or laces or anything like that. What I want you to do is go to your local Goodwill or thrift store and check out the linens. There's some great repurposed linens that you can use. So anything from sheets, old sheets, to hand towels, tea towels, that sort of thing. So don't go out and buy fabric from the fabric store, you guys. It's not necessary. And in fact, it's better if it's, you know, repurposing old sheets and stuff that, you know, might have some stains on it or what have you. Look around, I'm sure you have some things. So yeah, so some kind of watercolor type paper, some dried leaves, and these I actually just took off some bouquets that I recently got for Mother's Day and what have you, and I dried them. So you can dry them underneath a book. There is a quick way that you can do it as well that I've seen. These ones in particular, I have a heat press for, like, it's a big clamshell heat press, and so I use it for heat transfer vinyl and all sorts of things. And I actually used it as well for drying my leaves. I tried drying some flowers. They need a little bit more time to dry because of course they're juicier, but you can use your iron. Again, if it's an iron that you're going to use for your clothes, you might not want to do that. But the way I did mine is I just put them in between parchment paper and I closed up my heat press and it squeezed everything together, and you saw a whole bunch of steam come out and then this beautiful aroma of the florals. And then, yeah, they dried really, really quickly. So if you want to dry flowers or plants quickly, that's one way to do it. If you don't have a heat press, use an iron. I've seen someone do it before where they used wax paper. I'm not a fan of that because, of course, the wax will get on your iron. So I would recommend parchment. And it seemed like the parchment paper worked better and the leaves and stuff came off easier than the wax paper. But try both and you do what works best for you. These ones I have actually purchased from Amazon, I think, and so it's time to use them up because they're just sitting in here, and I think they'll be perfect for this project. So my idea is I want to create like tags and kind of focal point images for our nature journals. And so yeah, the other thing you're going to need is I have mixed up in a little jar here 1 part water to 2 parts matte Mod Podge. You can, I think, use PVA glue. I think that would work if you water it down. I'm not sure the consistency of that though, but that's what I have here. And then you're also going to need some backings, like the 3rd layer. They're clear layers of some napkins. This one has a little bit of ghosting on it, but I think it'll be fine. Or I'm also going to try some, I have lots of this white tissue paper. Okay, you're also going to need a nice little soft brush like I have here, and I think we're good to go. All right, so I'm going to get my craft mat as well before I start making a mess on my nice new mat. I hope you're all doing well and that you're hanging out in your crafty areas with me today. It started out to be a beautiful day and then has since clouded over and gotten rainy, which is, I guess, fine because I got outside and enjoyed a little bit of the weather while running some errands. And now that I'm in here, it can rain all it wants because I'm nice and toasty in here. Don't mind staining on my mat. If you have a mat and you were like me where you're like, oh, I have to keep it clean and pristine and perfect, don't, because you're limiting yourself. You're trying to keep things clean. Give yourself a space. So I'm giving myself this mat to be able to get grungy, gross, and dirty. And obviously I have some alcohol inks on there. Not a big deal. although it is a little sticky from some coffee dyeing I did. So I do think I should, if I can find a little wipe here, I'm just going to quickly maybe just give this a little, it is a little sticky. I don't want that, so we'll just give it a quick wipe just to get that stickiness off. There, that's good. Okay, so let's give this a go. So you're going to want, yes, this is like a heat safe craft mat, non-stick craft mat. So use something that you don't mind if it gets sticky and gluey on. And what we're going to do is, oops, sorry about that. Okay, let's get out our little pieces of fabric here. I'm just going to lay these out. I'm going to try and do a couple at a time. And I love, so I just snipped and ripped because I love these little ripped or these kind of frayed edges. So got that going on. This is a nice tall one. Got some smaller ones here that we can use. Just take off some of these strings. Lay these out. Now maybe I will zoom you out just a little bit, just so we can see a little bit more of what's going on here. And let's try and center that. That's about good. Does it work for you? Hopefully so. Okay, all these little strings. And I can't remember, where did I see this? I think I saw this years ago. Was it years ago? I want to say it was from Nina Rabena, I think is her name originally, where I saw this from. Perhaps that could have been her, Nina. I think it was Nina. So let's figure this out. Okay, so I also have some feathers that I want to try as well. So use your dried flowers. Let's pick out some things to go on here. Kind of like that on there. I like that one. This one. Oh, I think you will be perfect on there. So I'm going to move you to the side. What else do I have? Do that. Actually, I think I want to try some of these. I'm going to use my tweezers. These are very delicate. Like, I got a ton of these, and they were fairly cheap off of Amazon. So maybe that. Maybe. Ooh, I like this one. This yellow one. Oops. Gotta be very careful because they are super fragile. Fragile. Oh, and you're caught on it. Don't rip off. There we go. Ooh, I like that one. That is perfect there. I like that. Okay. And, ooh, you gotta be so careful. You can't breathe heavy around these. Do not breathe heavy. Want this one? Come on. Do I want maybe? Ooh. I don't know how to do this very carefully. Oh, it's starting to crumble. Maybe if I put that on there. Not sure. Not sure that that's going to work. Change of plans. I want something red. Yes. Yes, yes. Something nice and red. When I have these, why do I have these stickers in here? I don't really know. But they're in there. I was looking for them before and couldn't find them. That's because I put them someplace they probably shouldn't have been. Okay. You are gorgeous. Yes, you are. Okay. I'm just going to take these corals out of here because I don't want them in there. Oh, this was some laminating I did. That's fun as well that you can do. Okay, let's take those out. See you, little flower, come back over here. You belong in here. Ooh, that's pretty. How can we use this? Do I want it? Okay, I like that. What else? Oh, so let's do some feathers. Yes. We can always come back to these if we want to do more. Very carefully put those back in there. Okay, so I have, now these feathers I got from my cousin's farm, and they have been washed, so not to worry. Oh yes, that is going to be amazing. Okay, and then I have all these, oh goodness, look at all these colorful feathers. Some of them have spots and they're just yummy looking. Would that fit? Ooh, that's a bit big. We have some smaller ones. Ooh, what about you? Ooh, no, what about you? Oh. I did a journal, an angel journal, where I glued all these feathers to the front of my journal cover. I think it's on the intro. It might be on the intro, a picture of it on the intro to my videos. That was fun. Okay, we need a small one. I'm kind of digging this blue. Oh, so pretty. Would that fit? Can we find a smaller one? It's just a titch big. Oh, that yellow one's gorgeous too. Ooh, look at the green. Okay, tangent. But I see a blue one here. This big is so super delicate. Okay, what about you? Are you going to be smaller? Yes. Yes. Okay, let's give these a go. Quite liking this. Shoot back in there. Yeah, those greens are stunning. Oh, and that yellow. Okay, we'll definitely be doing more. We'll be doing more of these. Okay. So now that we've got it picked out what we want to use, we need to, let's start with this guy over here. Take him off. And I'm going to take my brush and just put a layer of this Mod Podge water mixture all over this. Okay, just like this. Oh, got that little leaf in there. Okay. And it's okay if it sticks to this craft mat. That's what we want, because we can peel it up later and everything will be just fine. Okay, so then we're going to take our leaf and run it this way. Put it on like that. Can you see? I know I'm kind of working a little lower down. See if I can move those. Okay, so we've got our leaf now on there. And then we're going to take the third layer of the napkin. And I'll just rip it a little bit smaller to work with, because we don't need that much. Is that going to cover? Should. Okay, so this is where the process gets a bit delicate, because you do not want to rip your tissue or your napkin, whatever you're using. Okay, so we're going to just kind of blot it down like this. And then we're going to come back in with our brush and Mod Podge, and we're going to very delicately add some more on. And we're going to, the wrinkles are okay. If you get wrinkles, that's not a problem. But what we really don't want is air bubbles. Okay? So we'll just very delicately add this on. Yes, we've got some air bubbles in there that we need to just kind of tap out. Again, don't worry about those wrinkles. We're at an age now, ladies, we don't need to worry about the wrinkles. We just embrace them. Or at least I am. Oh no, oh no. Okay. Try and work that little bubble out. Very carefully. Just like that. Okay. So there's one. Done. Ooh, ideally would like that to stick down a little bit more. It seems to be bubbling up on me. Yeah, because we got that air in there. Work those air bubbles out very carefully. I got a little bit of rippage. Come on, my friends, stick down. Okay, we're going to leave that one. We will move on. Let's move on to this guy. This time I want to try the tissue paper as opposed to the napkin. So I'll just grab some of that. Might be a little bit more robust than the napkin itself, so it might not tear as easily. We'll see. Okay, again, I'm going to put a nice layer of the glue, Mod Podge, water mixture, whatever you want to call it, down here, like this. Okay. Nice and wet. We want this guy to stick. Okay, which way do we want? This way is good. Stick you down there, my friend. Now we'll put our tissue paper over top. Like so. Just gently tapping and then come back again. And just tap it all together here. Again, being very careful not to rip anything if you can avoid it. And then you're just trying to work out those little air bubbles. Now when this dries, it should dry clear. So you won't even see the tissue paper over top. Just going around the stem here a bit. How are you doing? You make me nervous, little leaf, because you're popping up. I might have to readdress this one. Okay, there's that. Let's try the feather. Move this along so you can kind of see what we're doing. Again, just starting with that Mod Podge, getting the fabric nice and saturated with the sticky goodness that we have made. There we go. Got a little hair in there. Okay. How are you doing? Is that looking good? I think that's looking good. Okay. Plop the feather on there. Another piece of tissue. Okay. You see that there? I've got feathers floating around. Got a little bit of an air bubble there that I'm just trying to work out. And back again with a little bit of the mixture. Very delicately going over top. Like this. Nice little air bubble in there. See if we can work that out. Okay. Come on, little air bubble. I see you in there. Oh, and I ripped it. Sugar. Sugar Shack. Okay, that's all right. We'll just kind of work with it here. It's a very delicate process, but so worth it. We'll see how that works out. All right. Next, let's do this green guy here. And I think he's going to give me a little bit of difficulties as well, just because he kind of, you can see he's kind of curved, right? We'll try our best. We will, we will. So I'll do this one last one with you on camera, and then I'll finish the other ones. It's the same process. You've seen me do it. It'll be 4 times now. And then I'll finish the other ones off camera, let them dry, and then we'll come back and we will finish our next steps in the process. Okay, little buddy, I want you, oops, to go right there. Can you stick down for me? Oh, you're going to be a little turkey, aren't you? Let's add a little bit more. Okay, good and sticky now. And some more tissue paper. Okay, let's throw you over top. Just putting a little bit of pressure. Just to hopefully, oh, buggered that up, didn't I? Well, you know, we'll just improvise here. See if we can stick another piece over top. Yeah, it's working better now. Just work out those air bubbles in there. And then the patience of it drying. If you have a heat tool, you can use that. Just, you know, be very careful that you don't get it too hot, because you can scorch the tissue paper and the fabric. So, you know, if you can let it dry overnight, that is probably your best case scenario. Okay. All right, so I am done that one. So I will finish these off. This one might give me a little troubles just because he's so big, but I'll finish the other 4 off, and then I will come back once they are dry and show you the finished dried project, and then we will go ahead and assemble them into our tags and belly bands and journal cards, what have you. Hey friends, it is the next day. I have let all of these dry overnight, and yeah, they turned out really well. I'm so super excited. So what I need to do now is just kind of clean up these tissue edges. So just kind of ripping off the excess tissue paper. You can leave definitely some edges like this. I like that. But just so they're not as tall. So go ahead and do that, or as wide, or again, I don't like these straight edges here, so yeah, that Mod Podge mixture definitely makes it tough. It's fairly, I don't know if you can hear that, but yeah, nice and stiff. Love it. Okay, so clean this up. My garbage seems to have gotten away from me here. Okay, so yeah, quickly doing this. Ripping these up. I hope you're all following along with this project. It's been a lot of fun. We're not even done yet. So we'll just kind of get these torn and ready to go. Look at that one. That one is so cute as well. Okay, so I've got them all kind of peeled away. Now, if you find that you've got some excess pieces around the edges, or your edges are a little straight and you don't like it, if you have this little tool, this is the little Tim Holtz edge rougher thing, or grab a pair of scissors and just take the blade and go along and just rough up the edges with that, and it helps clean that up. So I think I'm liking where these are at, how they're looking. It's got a little string there I'm not wild about. Take that off. So yeah, I think for the most part these are good. This one's got a little more than I like, so we'll use this little doodad. Okay, I think that's about good. Clean up all my crumbs. And then the next thing I want to do is back these onto some brown paper, and then yeah, just as the background. And then I think I'm going to then as well back them onto some cardstock. Okay, so I'm just kind of thinking here, I'm going to bring this. And so yeah, this is just packing paper. Let me just try to zoom out a little bit for you guys. Can I do that? Am I zoomed all out? There we go. Okay. So this is just packing paper that I got from Amazon or some sort of online order of some sort, and just crumpling it up. And I'll open it up again like this. And then what I want to do is, yeah, let's glue. So this is nice and shiny on the back. I don't know if you can see that. It's got a nice shine to it. I'm going to use some Fabri-Tac. And I should have had that. I'm going to need some more Fabri-Tac. Should have had that resting like this. Let's see. Then what I also want to do, so I'm going to have this. Do I have anything to prop this up on? I don't. Things aren't working well for me today here. Let's put you in there. Oh, there we go. That works. Okay. I also want my little ink brush guy here, and let's ground espresso. Is this my tea dye? Yes, let's try some tea dye. And what I want to do, are you ready? So we'll glue this onto the brown paper, and then we're actually going to kind of ink up the whole thing. We'll see how that looks. If this will come out for me. There we go. I'll stick that down. Gotta put this pin in. Okay, now I'm going to take this, and I do want to ink up kind of the whole thing here. This will just kind of give this just a little bit more of an aged look. As well, it's going to bring out the wrinkles in the brown paper and any wrinkles that might be on your project as well. It'll just help those stand out just a little bit better. Just like the way that looks. If you don't want to do this, you absolutely do not have to. You do what makes you happy, but I kind of like this look. It's a little bit grungy. And then, so some of these, you can kind of see on this one, how it's got some white. That's where an air bubble was. I didn't get all the air bubbles out, but if you just hit it with this, it then tones down those air bubbles and makes them less noticeable, and again, gives it that aged look. So that's another reason why I'm doing this, is it kind of hides any imperfections of my sealing. Yeah, I think the tea dye is just dark enough. I like it. It's not too overpowering. The ground espresso would definitely have been way too much. And I think even the vintage photo would be as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this process with all of them. And then I'm just going to simply, doesn't have to be perfect, just tearing around. So I just want some of that paper bag around showing out from, you know, kind of peeking out from underneath that focal piece here. Ooh, words are hard today. Okay. Again, when you're ripping, don't overthink it. I know sometimes when I first started, I'd get, you know, caught up on how to make it look good ripped. You just rip. Don't worry about it. It will look good. And again, if you need any more inking after that, you can come back in and do that. Okay. So I'm going to quickly do that off camera for the rest of them, and then I will come back and join you again. Okay, my friends, I am so sorry, but I had some technical difficulties. I recorded, and then when I played back the video, because my computer issues, it's being laggy, I apologize. I just couldn't use that footage. It really sucked. So I did finish up my little card focal pieces, whatever you want to call them. And what I ended up doing is, once I had glued them down to the brown paper bag, I then took it to my sewing machine and I did some wonky stitching all the way around. Actually, I lied. Before I did that, I added some labels to all of them. So I did the labels, then I did the wonky stitching. Now, if you don't have a sewing machine, that's fine, because if you've glued down the fabric piece to the brown paper bag well enough, you won't have to worry about stitching it down. I did a shoddy job because I knew I wanted the stitching. I like that look. So I just went around a couple times with some wonky stitching, just, you know, going ooh, like this in my sewing machine. Now, you do need to be careful with the brown paper bag in your sewing machine that when the needle is going through, if you get close to the edge, sometimes that can get gummed up in your feeder foot and inside your sewing machine. So please be very careful doing that. I am not responsible if your sewing machine breaks doing this process. Mine worked, but yeah, just keep that in mind. Then after the stitching was done, I pulled out a book that I got from Goodwill. So it was just like literally like a scrapbook, and it had these gorgeous kind of like onion skin type papers in between so that you could put whatever you wanted in there, and this would be over top. So I've torn all these out so that I can use them. And then these are like watercolor weight, so I tore that out. And then, what do I have here? I just used my tear ruler and I just ripped around the size of whatever piece I had. And if you don't have a tear ruler, that's just fine. Just go ahead and rough tear it. If you have this distressing tool, you can go ahead and distress the edges or use the blade of your scissors. And then I glued it down with art glitter glue. That way we have the stitching look, but it's not coming through on the back. So we can use this to journal on if we so choose. Okay, so yeah, I did that with all of these. I love how they look. The labels that I used were from the entomology kit. Again, use whatever labels you have, you guys. Just pick out some little bits. You can use numbers, words like maybe nature or entomology, whatever. Use what you have. But this is what I had. That's what I was, you know, playing with. And then I just inked up the edges. And I did that front and back because I'm not sure how I'm going to use these yet. I'm not sure if they're going to be tucked in as journaling cards, or I can use them as like a tuck. I can glue on these sides and then have it as a tuck like that. I can also, here's my journal cover, I can use them as journal toppers. Right? Just glue that down. How pretty would that be? As, you know, the focal image. Got that one. This one's a little big. But how cute is that? I love how these turned out. It was super simple, super easy. Again, we started out with just some fabric. I used kind of like a muslin or cotton fabric. You can use old sheets, guys, whatever you have. Then we put a layer of this Mod Podge mixture, which is 1 part water to 2 parts Mod Podge, or you could use PVA glue, I imagine. I used the matte Mod Podge. We put that down, stuck our little focal image down, and then put tissue paper or the, you know, the extra ply of the napkin down over top, and then lightly brush that over. Let it dry really well overnight, making sure that when you tap that down with your brush that you're getting rid of any air bubbles. Again, if you have air bubbles, at the end of the day, not a huge deal. I just used some tea dye ink and my brush, and I just went over it just to enhance some of the wrinkles. So if you get wrinkles, that's great. It enhanced those wrinkles as well as covered up any of those air bubbles that we might have. It just kind of camouflaged them a bit. So from there, we crumpled up some brown paper, used some ink. I did end up using my Distress Oxide. I just kind of did it all over that brown paper bag piece. I think I'll show you here. Do I have? Yeah. So I did decide to go darker with this piece, but I just took my ink pad like this and just brushed it over top. For this, though, I used tea dye. I think it would be too dark if you used the Distress Oxide. And then we just, you know, glued that down onto there, ripped it off. Super simple. And yeah, then glue them down onto like a watercolor piece or whatever paper you like underneath. And yeah, that's it. They just turned out so gorgeous. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. Oh, I like that. Yeah, isn't that gorgeous? I might end up using that as the focal point for my cover. Anyways, yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. It was super fun. Stay tuned. I've got lots more ideas rolling around in the old noggin here. So I thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. And remember, P.S. I love you.